I am 101 years old, and people think they already know my secret. They imagine medicine, strict diets, or rare habits passed down through generations. They are always wrong. What kept me alive this long is something most people ignore every single day. It is quiet, invisible, and free. If you are willing to listen, my life might change the way you think about growing old forever. I am 101 years old today, and every time I say that number out loud, I can see disbelief appear on people's faces. Some smile politely, some laugh softly, and some stare at me as if I am a memory from another world. To them, age is just a number written on paper, but to me, age is a long road filled with mornings I survived and nights I endured. I was born when life moved slowly, when people spoke face to face and learned patience without realizing it. I have lived through times of hunger, times of loss, and times of quiet joy that never needed to be shared with anyone else. When people ask me how it feels to be this old, I tell them it feels heavy and light at the same time. Heavy because I carry memories of people who are no longer here, and light because I no longer chase things that do not matter. Being 101 years old does not mean I am special or stronger than others. It only means I stayed long enough to understand what truly drains a human soul and what gently keeps it alive. Many people fear aging because they think growing old is only about losing strength. They forget that growing old is also about losing unnecessary weight from the heart. At this age, I am no longer trying to prove anything. I simply exist, breathing calmly, observing quietly, and appreciating each day without asking it to be different from what it is. People always think they understand longevity before they listen to someone who has actually lived it. When they look at me, 101 years old, they immediately begin guessing. They ask about special medicine, rare herbs, strict diets, or secret routines that only disciplined people can follow. Some believe money keeps people alive longer. Others think it is perfect health, perfect habits, or perfect luck. I listen politely, but inside I know how far their assumptions are from the truth. I did not live this long because my life was comfortable. In fact, comfort arrived very late, and sometimes it never stayed long. I did not have access to advanced medicine for most of my life, and my food was simple, repetitive, and often limited. Many people today eat better than I ever did and still feel exhausted by life. The mistake people make is believing that longevity comes from adding more things into life, when in reality it comes from removing them. Removing constant worry, removing endless comparison, removing the need to control everything. People rush through their days chasing improvement, yet they forget to protect their peace. I have seen strong people grow weak because their minds never rested, and I have seen fragile people survive because their hearts stayed calm. Long life is not a reward for perfection. It is often the result of acceptance. When you stop fighting every inconvenience, your body stops fighting itself. Most people search for the secret outside themselves, while the truth quietly lives inside the way they respond to life each day. Say Lanjut Bab 3 when you are ready. I was born into a world where scarcity was normal and abundance was rare. There were days when food was uncertain and nights when silence felt heavier than hunger. As a child, I learned early that complaining did not change reality, so endurance became a habit before I understood its value. We did not talk about mental strength or resilience back then, yet those qualities shaped us quietly. Life forced patience into our bones, We waited for meals, we waited for better days, and we waited for pain to pass without expecting comfort. That slow rhythm trained my body and mind to tolerate discomfort without panic. Today, many people fear discomfort so deeply that their hearts race at the first sign of difficulty. I learned that discomfort is not an enemy. It is a teacher that teaches you when to move and when to stay still. Growing up with less also meant I never learned to overconsume. I ate what was available, rested when possible, and accepted limitations without feeling punished by them. Scarcity shaped my relationship with desire. I did not chase what I could not reach, and I did not feel ashamed for living simply. That mindset protected me later in life when loss appeared again and again. People often think hardship shortens life. But in my experience, uncontrolled desire and constant dissatisfaction are far more dangerous. Scarcity taught me balance. It taught me how to survive emotionally without needing everything to be perfect. Those lessons stayed with me long after circumstances changed, quietly supporting my body and mind for more than a century. Say Lanjut Bab 4 when you are ready. Loss has been a constant companion throughout my 101 years of living, even when I wished it would leave me alone. I lost my parents earlier than I was ready. Then later I lost my partner, friends, and people who once filled my days with laughter and familiar voices. Each loss felt different, yet they all carried the same quiet lesson. Grief does not disappear just because time moves forward, but it does change shape when you allow it to. In my younger years, I believed grief was something to fight, something to overcome quickly, so life could return to normal. I learned the hard way that resisting grief only makes it heavier. The body holds on to pain when the heart refuses to acknowledge it. Over time, I learned to sit with sadness without letting it define who I was. I allowed myself to miss people without turning that longing into bitterness. Many people grow old carrying unresolved grief, and that weight slowly exhausts their bodies. I chose a different path. I accepted that loving deeply meant losing deeply, and that loss was not a punishment, but proof that my life had meaning. When someone left this world, I honored them by continuing to live gently instead of closing my heart. This approach protected my spirit and, I believe, protected my health as well. Holding grief with tenderness instead of anger allowed my mind to remain calm, and a calm mind gives the body space to keep going even when the years grow heavy. As I grew older, I slowly realized that the true foundation of long life is not built in the body first, but in the mind. I watched many people who were physically strong grow weak far earlier than expected, and the common thread was not illness, but constant mental strain. Worry aged them faster than time ever could. I learned to observe my thoughts the same way I observed my breath, calmly and without panic. When problems came, I asked myself whether they were truly dangerous or simply uncomfortable. Most of the time, they were only uncomfortable, yet people treated them like disasters. I refused to let every difficulty steal my peace. This does not mean I ignored responsibility or pretended everything was fine. It means I chose not to poison my body with unnecessary fear. Stress tightens the chest, stiffens the muscles, and slowly convinces the body that it is under attack. Over many years, that constant tension becomes exhaustion. I protected my mind by simplifying my expectations. I stopped demanding that life be fair, predictable, or easy. Once I accepted uncertainty as a normal part of living, my mind relaxed and my body followed. Many people chase happiness aggressively, which ironically keeps them restless. I learned that calmness sustains life far longer than excitement ever will. By keeping my thoughts gentle and my reactions measured, I reduced the internal battles that silently shorten lives. This mental approach did not make my life perfect, but it made it sustainable. And sustainability, more than anything else, is what carries a person beyond 100 years. One of the most important decisions I made in my life was choosing not to hold on to anger or resentment, even when I felt deeply wronged. In my younger years, I saw how easily anger could consume a person. I watched people replay the same painful moments over and over again in their minds, as if revisiting the memory could somehow change the outcome. Instead of finding justice, they found exhaustion. I understood early that resentment is not a punishment for the person who caused harm. It is a slow poison for the one who carries it. Whenever I felt anger rising inside me, I allowed myself to feel it honestly, but I refused to let it stay. I reminded myself that my heart was not a storage place for old wounds. Carrying resentment tightens the body, disrupts sleep, and fills the mind with constant tension. Over decades, that tension quietly breaks a person down. I chose forgiveness not because others always deserved it, but because my body deserved peace. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting what happened or allowing the same harm again. It means releasing the emotional weight so it no longer controls your inner world. Letting go became easier with time, and each release felt like removing an invisible burden from my chest. As the years passed, I noticed that my breathing stayed calmer and my thoughts stayed clearer than many people much younger than me. By refusing to live in constant emotional conflict, I preserved my energy for living itself, and that emotional freedom, more than anything else, helped carry me far beyond 100 years. People often expect dramatic routines when they ask about my daily habits, but my life has never been built on extremes. I did not punish my body with strict rules or force it to perform beyond its limits. Instead, I treated it like a companion that needed respect and patience. Each day, I moved in small ways that felt natural, whether it was walking slowly, cleaning my surroundings, or stretching gently after rest. Movement was never about strength or achievement. It was about reminding my body that it was still needed. I ate simply, not because I followed a theory, but because excess never felt comfortable to me. I stopped eating before I felt full and listened closely to what my body could tolerate as the years passed. Rest was equally important. When I felt tired, I rested without guilt, understanding that recovery is not laziness but maintenance. Many people ignore their body's signals, pushing through exhaustion as if rest were a weakness. Over time, that neglect accumulates. I also kept my days predictable, which gave my body a sense of safety. Waking, eating, and resting at similar times allowed my internal rhythms to remain steady. Stability reduces stress, and reduced stress preserves energy. I never believed that dramatic effort extends life. Consistency does. By honoring small needs every day and avoiding extremes, my body never felt attacked by my lifestyle. Instead, it felt supported, and when the body feels supported, it is far more willing to continue walking alongside you through a very long life. Acceptance became one of my strongest protections as the years passed, even though it took me a long time to understand its power. When I was younger, I spent energy wishing life were different, wishing people behaved better, wishing circumstances changed faster. Over time, I noticed how exhausting that resistance felt inside my body. Fighting reality creates constant tension, and tension slowly drains life. I learned to accept situations without surrendering my values. Acceptance did not mean I liked everything that happened. It meant I stopped arguing with what already existed. When something unpleasant arrived, I acknowledged it calmly and focused on what could still be done rather than what should not have happened. This shift softened my reactions and protected my nervous system. Many people age quickly because they spend their lives mentally negotiating with reality, replaying the past or fearing the future. I chose to stay present because the present moment is the only place where the body can truly rest. Acceptance allowed my breathing to slow and my muscles to relax, even during difficult periods. I did not waste energy demanding explanations from life. I trusted that not everything required understanding. As the years accumulated, this calm approach prevented emotional spikes that wear the body down. I noticed that people who constantly resisted aging appeared older than their years, while those who accepted it moved with grace. Acceptance did not make my life small, it made it sustainable. By welcoming life as it unfolded, I conserved strength, preserved clarity, and allowed my body to age without unnecessary struggle. If I could speak directly to younger people, I would ask them to slow down before life forces them to. Many people live as if time is an enemy chasing them, and that mindset quietly destroys their peace. I would tell them that urgency is not the same as purpose. You can move forward without constantly rushing your own heart. When you hurry through life, your body never feels safe, and an unsafe body ages faster than any calendar can measure. I would also remind them that comparison is a silent thief of energy. Watching how others live, earn, or succeed creates invisible pressure that the body carries every day. That pressure tightens the chest, disturbs sleep, and slowly weakens joy. I lived long because I stayed focused on my own path, even when it was modest. I would tell younger people to protect their sleep, their quiet moments, and their ability to be alone without distraction. Longevity is supported by stillness as much as movement. I would also encourage them to treat mistakes gently. Regret held too tightly becomes a lifelong burden. Learn, adjust, and continue without self-punishment. Most importantly, I would tell them to choose calm over control. Life will never follow exact plans, no matter how carefully they are made. The sooner you accept that truth, the lighter your days will feel. A lighter life creates a lighter body, and a lighter body has far more strength to carry you through many decades. Now that I have reached 101 years of life, I no longer think about the future the way I once did. I do not measure time by plans or ambitions anymore, but by moments of quiet awareness. Each morning I wake up is not a promise of tomorrow, but a gift of today. I breathe slowly, I observe the light, and I allow myself to exist without urgency. This gentle approach to living is what carried me here more than anything else. I did not defeat life, and I did not conquer age. I simply stopped fighting them. Over a century, I learned that the body listens closely to how the mind treats it. When the mind is rushed, angry, or fearful, the body tightens and grows tired. When the mind is calm, patient, and forgiving, the body feels safe enough to continue. I have watched many people fear aging so deeply that they forgot to live while they were still young. I chose to respect aging instead. I allowed my pace to slow without shame, and my priorities to change without regret. If my life offers any final lesson, it is this. Longevity is not about extending time, but about reducing the harm we cause ourselves each day. Live gently, speak kindly to your own heart, and release what you cannot control. When you do, life does not feel longer. It feels deeper, calmer, and more complete.